Hello, this is Dr. Darnice Martin, and I'd like to welcome you into this presentation on how professional Black women can release stress, chronic exhaustion, burnout, and even resentment that comes with overperforming and doing the most all the time, and without feeling like she's letting herself down or like she's letting anyone else down. My announcement to you is that you are not required to give up on yourself. You are not required to sacrifice yourself. You are also not required to give up on your own long held dreams and deepest desires. This may come as a surprise to women like us because we're high achieving and we've been used to sacrificing ourselves and putting our own needs last. But I'm here to share with you that that's not our reality anymore. Now I want to share with you an unpopular idea. Maybe it's an unpopular idea. And I feel like I'm going out on a limb with this one, but here goes. Hear me out. Being the strong Black woman has become a trap for us. Yes, which has only left us exhausted, frustrated from always putting ourselves last and wondering when it will be our turn to live well and at peace. So that's why I say that. It's up to us to redefine what strong means anymore. That's part of what we're doing here today. We don't have to live out that Erykah Badu song, Bag Lady. You remember Bag Lady. We get to exhale, get our groove back, and live with passion, purpose, and good, healthy boundaries. Strength also includes self love and lovingly saying no sometimes, instead of constantly striving to do more and appear in control, because for too long, most of us have been in that mode. Many of us have been striving so much that, we have that voice in our head that says things like, if I don't manage things, nothing gets done right or at all. We keep it all looking good on the outside, right? But actually, it's a huge burden and it's preventing us from enjoying life at this point. But now that we're at midlife, over 40, we have some questions. And we have questions because we're realizing that none of this is working anymore, right? See if you resonate with these thoughts as we go along. People expect me to do everything, and I rarely have time or energy for myself. I just know there has to be something more for me besides this stressful way of life. I try to have balance, but my self care goes by the wayside most of the time. I'm not sleeping well. I know I don't really eat right. And I'm honestly wondering what's next for me. I really just don't even know what's going on anymore. Now that I'm over 40, I wonder if all of this work has been worth it, because work is demanding and I have to keep proving myself. And that's one thing when we're in that mode. We understand that work can be demanding in various ways in positions that we work in corporate America or in the academy or wherever you work in those institutions. We understand that work is demanding, but it's draining when we have to feel like we have to keep proving ourselves all the time. And sometimes we feel like we have to hold our tongue, a lot of the time, because we can't be seen as being that angry Black woman or seem aggressive. Other people often get credit for our work and for our ideas. So maybe you feel like, I'm constantly aware that I'm the only one or one of a few Black women at my level in leadership. It's isolating. It feels isolating professionally. So you're probably feeling like, yeah, I know something has to change there too. And then at home, everyone needs me. Of course, I want to be there for my family, but I need some me time too. I can't keep giving from an empty cup. I feel like I'm on edge all the time between making sure my elders have what they need and my kids who are becoming adults. I'm just spent. Maybe you feel like this. My marriage or relationship is suffering between being tired, menopause issues, and whatnot. Like, who even knows what's going on with that? that part of my life has just not been getting attention. Of course, I want more love and passion, but something has to give. And at the end of the day, it's usually that. I would really just like to feel acknowledged, appreciated, and have a good night's sleep too. So, are you resonating with these ideas? I've got more that you probably can relate to right here. Are you saying to yourself, I want a life that feels good to me without feeling like I'm losing myself in the never ending cycle of being a solution to everyone else's problems? I don't want to have to be in breakdown before people see that I need help too, right? I don't want to have to keep living out this strong black woman stereotype who can't express her true feelings and emotions, or who doesn't get the care and sensitivity that other women receive. That version of strong isn't working anymore. And I just wish I could figure out how I can live with more fun, ease, and enjoy my work too, but not be on all the time, so that I can finally slow down and enjoy the soft life that everyone is talking about now. So the soft life is getting off the wheel, getting off the hustle and grind, right? So now we can exhale, spend fun time with family and friends without obligations, without constantly having to check our phone, without constantly having to check the time, right? We just want to like chill out sometimes. So, we can enjoy naps, vacations, and just have time, right? You might be saying, I just want to have some time for myself, reconnect to my spiritual life, take a class, have peace of mind, right? Finally feel appreciated and acknowledged. I would feel free to work on my own terms, at my own pace, or finally start my own business. Whatever I would choose, I'm just really knowing that my strength should work for me and not against me. Again, like Stella, I want my groove back. So, if you're relating to these common thoughts and frustrations, you're my people. If you're a professional Black woman at midlife or mid career or other major life transformation, and you're feeling exhausted by the hustle and the grind, I'm sure you've been hearing and feeling that hustle culture is dead. If you feel that you're on the verge of a physical or emotional breakdown, if you want to release the burden of having to be strong all the time, but you need more time, more peace of mind for your body, mind, and soul, then I want to help you transition out of that chronic stress and find what really matters to you. You're in the right place. If you're feeling like this, I just want to confirm for you that you're in the right place. There's many of us out here, right? And we're finally coming to a place where we're starting to reevaluate our lives and say, hey, maybe this isn't how I want to live anymore. So if you have tried those girl trips, spa days, and retreats, but those have only been quick fixes, if you've dabbled in meditation, yoga, self-help books, good for you, because you're reaching out, for some help. But those things never really had much success in making the changes that are calling you. If you've even been avoiding that little voice inside, that voice that says it's time to move on and do something else, but now it's just getting louder because you really do know there's more for you, then again, you are in the right company with like-minded women. And you already know, really, you already know something has to change. You've been trying to figure it out on your own. You've been working hard on trying not to work hard, because that's kind of what we do. Even your search for an end to stress and burnout has only made you feel more stressed and overwhelmed, because it's giving you more tasks to do, right? As you try to find the solution on your own, it's causing you to feel more stressed and overwhelmed. And I get it. And so I'll put it this way: has it only given you everything you don't want? Your search to help you end stress and burnout has only given you more of what you don't want. only kept you awake, wondering what you can do for yourself while still trying to make sure everyone around you is taken care of? I want to introduce you to one of my clients. Now you'll see Teresa here is in quotes because I do change the name of my clients here for confidentiality. But her scenario is pretty common. And so here I'm calling her Teresa. Um, so she came to me. She was unable to shift out of her corporate job, even though she really wanted to. And, like I said, that still small voice was going in her mind, like pulling her, like, there's this other thing that she really wanted to do. She wanted to have her own coaching business. And yet she was stuck, although she had sort of a vision for herself. So I met her when she really wanted to step into that. Like she was finally starting to answer the calling that she felt was on her life. And so after we started working together, she was finally able to overcome her debilitating self doubt that, many of us have when we're trying to do something new, something that's going to move us out of our comfort zone. The self doubt comes in. And even though her job was pretty, it was very demanding, soul sucking kind of job. And she wanted to leave that and recreate her career on her own terms. It's not that she was going to just stop working altogether, but she wanted to be able to work according to, her own vision now and what was calling her forward. Of course, she was feeling like she would be letting others down, like people wouldn't quite understand. And years on the corporate wheel had led her to doubting just how valuable and marketing her own skills were. It's like, okay, yes, you're good at what you do, but only when you have that institutional affiliation, only when other people tell you that you're good doing this job for this company. But, when it comes to, well, you've got the skill set and you can apply it to yourself, and the self-doubt comes in. So in working with Teresa, we were able to tap into her gifts and step her into creativity and ease while she kept looking. I mean, she stayed at her job for a while, but but she jumped. She made the jump. It took a minute because she started to realize, hey, I have this skill set that I've developed over, decades of working in corporate America. And now it's really time for me to apply what I know and what I have to myself. And so she was able to do that. So I wanted to share that with you as an example of what I mean about, when we have that still small voice, when we know something has to change, but and yet we don't, we kind of get stuck doing the same thing over and over. And many of us have, a certain lifestyle to which we have become accustomed. And so it seems really risky. Like, can I risk that? And will my family understand if I have to reorganize our finances? So that's just one example. But now what I'd like to share with you is my promise for this video. I appreciate your time and being with me today, is to share exactly how I support Black professional women who want to transform their lives from that chronic exhaustion, hustling for our worth, and feeling frustration from always putting ourselves last, so that you can slow down, focus on your own needs, and actually remember what makes you happy. And now I say that, and I hope that that sounds like relief. So remember to breathe deeply and exhale as we go through this. Think again about those movies that we're probably all familiar with, Waiting to Exhale, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, and then the song I mentioned before, Erykah Badu's Bag Lady. They're all warnings, really, when we think about it in terms of film and music. They're all warnings like, hey, don't let yourselves get so bogged down that you forget who you are, you forget what makes you happy. Right? Stella had to go get her groove back after things were going wrong, and she had, invested herself, and that went wrong, right? That marriage went wrong, and now she has to find her groove back. And so, we don't want to wait until we're depleted or in burnout mode. we've been told all along we've got to work really hard, and that when we need time for ourselves, we just can't take it. Now we're programmed in such a way that we're like, oh, I still don't think I can take it, that time for myself. But here I am to say that, yes, you can. And I want to show you how, because you're like, well, yeah, that would be great. But how am I going to shift my life or my priorities in such a way that I can do that? So, of course, you're wondering how when you've been trying to figure that out for a long time. So, hang in with me till the end, and I'll be showing you how. If you want to do life differently, let me teach you a better way, Black woman to Black woman. So, one strategy that I've been using to support my clients break out of burnout and overperforming, especially if you have been ignoring your own needs and avoiding that inner voice calling you to make a change for a long time now, or if you've been trying to figure things out on your own, trying programs, retreats, or classes that really don't acknowledge you as a Black woman culturally or spiritually. You've been working hard at all of that because you're smart and capable, but nothing's really working the way you need it to. And so you're still lost in your own head, still overgiving because that's the pattern. And now you're feeling depleted and overwhelmed. You're feeling like you've lost yourself along the way of being there for everyone else, right? Now what, though? My question is, now what? Here you are at midlife. It's time to get back to that woman who had dreams, goals, but who did not expect to have to pay for them with her own chronic exhaustion and feeling unfulfilled in exchange, right? We didn't really think that it was going to cost us that, like our physical, mental, spiritual well-being. Well, this looks harsh right here to say we've been fed a bunch of lies, but kind of, right? Someone has lied to us. It's like the system has lied to us. It just may be that hard work is actually a trap for Black women. And I'm going to explain more on that as we go along. Because as I said, I'm kind of out here on a limb with some of these statements that I'm making. But as you hear how I explain them, I think you understand what I mean and maybe even agree. Everything we've been told to do to make it better is making it worse. You are not the problem. You are not the problem. Most of us have inherited the strong Black woman role, and we've been living it for decades. Everything that encourages us to more work is not helping us. We now get to redefine strength to include vulnerability and healthy boundaries. And once again, I'll repeat this, our strength should work for us, not against us. Our focus has been on building others up. And, we can feel good about our achievements and how we show up for others, but not to the extent that we are empty and wondering where we lost ourselves. Wellness is now our priority, which is really revolutionary for Black women to claim for ourselves, right? It's actually revolutionary for Black women to say, I am going to focus on my wellness and my well-being. It's like we live at a special time in history where we get to be that and embody that now. So before we get any more into this, I'll be sharing with you, well, how I know. Like, well, how have you figured this out? Because I had to find a way to stop overworking and living in burnout myself. And I'll be sharing with you how. And how I recreated my own life, focused on adding in ease and wellness and self-care, which I often just say is spaciousness, right? It's just spaciousness to be able to rest and to really think about what it is you want in your life now, without having to feel like I'm letting other people down if I say no to their expectations, or prove myself or explain myself why I need time to myself, or feel foolish because I wanted to start something new at this age. So, I like to say we're too young to be old. And that means we're not giving up, right? Like I said earlier, we don't have to sacrifice ourselves. As a woman like you, I want to enjoy my life with like minded people without any more stress or obligations. So, what I learned was, and this is how I found the fix, so to speak, I learned through what I call my glamorous Hollywood life. And again, I put glamorous Hollywood life in quotes because well, all that glitters is not gold. And I was um, living my certain aspects of my life on the red carpet. I mean, I live in LA, and I was involved with a lot of celebrity kind of events, and attending a lot of red carpet things. I was in a relationship with someone who's a very prominent director, and so a lot of our lives from the outside look very glamorous. Um, but what was also happening was that it really wasn't glamorous all the time. The glamorous part is really just the tip of the iceberg, and it's very little. And so what was actually happening, I was having to establish, in order to sort of save myself from the glamorous that wasn't glamorous, I was having to establish boundaries for myself, find my own values again, and walk away from situations and people that didn't serve me. So, in doing so, I began to identify common denominators. So I was having to do that for myself, and I was realizing that these things were helpful for other people too. So, I began to identify common denominators. There are common patterns that we all fall into when we are hustling for our worth. We fall into people pleasing, constantly putting others first, and pushing through. We've gotten so used to pushing through even when we're tired. We're already tired, we're already beyond exhaustion, and we just push through. And, for example, there'd be times when I had to, go to an event at the, end of the day after I'd already been working, after I'd already been doing a number of other things. But hey, there's this red carpet event, which means, hair and makeup and having the right look and, making it look all glamorous and perfect on the outside. But it meant I was pushing through exhaustion. And, something's got to give with that. Like, you can only do that for so long. So, that was part of my life from which I learned how to, get out of this hustle and grind that I'm talking about. And, also, like all of us at one time or another, we've got to bounce back from grief, loss, relationship drama. I mean, this is just sort of the stuff of life, right? Grief, loss, difficult relationships are some of life's biggest challenges and teachers. And, I've had to start again in my own life. And now that has really equipped me to share the insights I've gained with, like I said, my own experiences and being a coach to others. I've gained this knowledge to help women know they're not alone and that they can recover and reset. And as I said, I was in an environment with a lot of celebrities, and so I became a celebrity coach. And I was attending to women who were, in the spotlight, or they were attached to men who were in the spotlight. They were the girlfriend or the wife of somebody who's famous, and they were having their own, kind of breakdowns, their own set of questions come up about, wow, what's happened to me, feeling like they've lost themselves. And so I became, I say again, a celebrity coach, because it's a weird term to me, but because I always think that I'm coaching women through ordinary life kind of events, regardless of their status. So I say celebrity coach here because people kind of know what that means, but they were clients of mine, and they were either, I'll just say they were women who are living public lives. And it's not that they don't have the problems that other women have. It's just that a lot of times the spotlight is on them, which only amplifies what they're going through. So Anyway, I began to realize that we inherited living under the stress, regardless of our status. If we're in the spotlight or we're, average women, high achieving in various aspects of our lives, I began to realize that we inherited living under certain kind of a stress, that we accept it as normal. It's not what we wanted, but the social, cultural, and family pressures for us to achieve have been enormous. Again, regardless of status, money, position, we all fall under the spell of what success looks like for us and what it takes to get it and keep it. And so, I say we've been caught up in the strong Black woman stereotype that's been created for us. So, again, breathe with me. We can just start to let some of that go. Because as women now over 40, perhaps reevaluating our lives, we have worn ourselves out trying to embody that and please everyone at the same time. That's the trap I mentioned earlier. And now there's even research, scientific, medical research that confirms that Black women are suffering from increased physical and mental disorders, diseases, just consequences from living out what they call the superwoman schema, this sort of, superwoman, strong Black woman kind of role. And, many of us have been giving from an empty cup so long that now we're at the place where we feel exhausted and even resentful. And we lose ourselves in the process of trying to prove our worth. So again, we end up in a place of resentment when we realize, wow, I really should have paid more attention to this. I could have been doing this by now. But we realize at a certain point, hopefully we realize at a certain point that we've lost ourselves, but that we can get ourselves back is, of course, my point. So just to share more, when I was dating that director, his schedule became my schedule. His needs bumped mine. His friends became my friends, with me spending less time with my own. That's the definition of how to lose yourself, when you're just so busy in somebody else's sort of schedule and program, right? And when you're with somebody who is high profile, whether local politician or national politician for that matter, or celebrity, or, someone who just has a lot going on, a big life, and you're attached to that person and you're expected to show up at all the things and, look good and be a great host and all of these things and be a great parent and all the things. Again, that's the definition of how you lose yourself. So, but then I always say, but hopefully you catch yourself. One day the light dawns on you and you have enough inspiration to want to get your own groove back. Now I say inspiration, the light dawn, but it is often due to some pain. Something has happened where you realize, something painful, usually something very uncomfortable, something unexpected, some what we would say negative thing happened, because it gets your attention. And if you pay attention to that, then you're like, this is to get my attention so that I get my groove back, right? This is to get my attention and say something has to change. And so here's your good news. You get to pick your path or your bridge over troubled water. Like I said, it's like we live in a certain time now where Black women get to say, I don't have to do it the hard way anymore, right? And the hard way has included hearing someone say, just work harder, just do more, just push through. And we have accepted that up until now. We have accepted that as the reason that we push through. And that's the hard way. And here we end up like this. It's not the answer. We end up in the hallway or of our office or in our bathroom or, you know, in our own bedroom, in our own closet, saying, how much longer do I have to put up with these people? What else do I have to do? Right? That's not the answer. That's how we got here. Being the strong Black woman has backfired. So, as I mentioned, the Black superwoman schema is actually now scientifically researched and proven. The results show that Black women are experiencing more depletion, exhaustion, resentment, depression, anxiety, and actual physical illness because we've been living out this so-called Black superwoman. So, you could look it up yourself. You could, do an internet search and find for yourself Black Superwoman schema. It'll just really probably just blow your mind that there's actually research that's been done on it. And I say that because our needs and concerns as Black women often go unnoticed and unattended. A lot of times the larger society isn't really paying attention to, how things affect Black women. So despite being considered strong and highly educated and high achievers in many cases, oftentimes people don't even see us except for the extraordinary exceptions like Oprah, Serena, or political leaders. The view of us is skewed and our wellness is left out of consideration. Probably you've heard about, what happens to, Black women in terms of maternity care, infant mortality rates among Black people. Just the medical care system itself has been so unconcerned with the issues of Black women that more Black women, suffer as a result of not getting good medical care. Our labor and activism are taken for granted, meaning we remain unnamed and invisible. So any of the self-help books, any of the self-help programs that don't center our needs have limited value for us. In many ways, we are left out of wellness spaces and conversations, and that's why I'm such a strong advocate for us. That's why I do what I'm doing here. In my frustration, I developed this process that has been supporting my clients for some time now. Clients who were depleted and secretly resentful from a life of overperforming. I say secretly resentful because we're not really allowed to be resentful because we still have to perform our roles and seem to be perfect and happy about it. But, secretly resentful from a life of overperforming. Because as a student of many of these gurus and teachers, I realized that I needed something they couldn't give, and that was a focus on Black women. And let me tell you, I learned directly from Iyanla Vanzant, which may surprise you, but I mentioned before I had, quite a few celebrity connections and, friendships, relationships. And I met Iyanla on a couple of occasions, and she called me out, really. She called me out because she saw in me that I wasn't fully stepping into my potential. She told me that I was playing small. And the first time she told me that, I didn't even get it because I felt like I'm busy and I'm doing all these things and I'm showing up. But she, we've all seen Iyanla Vanzant go and fix somebody's life, right? And so she spoke to me in such a way that she said, you're playing small. When are you going to get with it? And I said, wow, I've been called out by Iyanla. But anyway, I learned directly from her. And, again, we're often in this cycle, the never-ending demands of career, family, community. And often we end up finding that being in that cycle leaves us never having time for ourselves. So with some new strategies, we're finally able to exhale and let go of draining obligations and the guilt that we might be letting others down. And if I can mention the phantom elephant in the room, that kind of looming fear of failure that many of us high achieving women have. Like sometimes we're even afraid to say it. We're afraid to even name it as, okay, why do you stay on that cycle? It's the fear of failure, because we've been raised by parents or family members who held such a high bar for us. I mean, I'm speaking personally here, held such a high bar for us that failure was just not an option. So we keep pushing. And now I'm here to say we can start to let all of that go. We can start to create and maintain daily self-care routines to ease stress, implementing that soft life, right? Slow down, reconnect with family, friends, our spiritual practices, sleep better, feel appreciated, find ourselves again. We can redefine what meaningful work is to us so that we can get clear on what it is we want at this time of our life, with steps and practices to actually get you there. What will it be for you? Will it be creative entrepreneurship, finding a better niche for yourself in your industry or your discipline, or are you planning for early retirement? So yeah, work can still be a part of our lives, but not to the extent that we're on all the time, right? We would rather have a soft life. We would rather integrate in, meaningful work with a balanced lifestyle. So whatever your specific goal, let us enjoy some leisure time too. I'm here to say Black women's wellness matters. So here's what I've created and what I teach. It's a 3C method for Black women's wellness on how we can live, love, and thrive, which includes reducing stress, helping us sleep better, feel better, create that next stage of our life as we really want it to be. So here's my simple steps, my 3 simple step solution, as I call it. Step number 1 in this system for Black women's wellness, number 1 is clarity. And clarity allows us to identify what's most important for who we are now, right? Identify what's important for who we are now. It's our most important compass. Clarity is our most important compass. It's our way of letting our intuition lead us on our path. Midlife has brought us wisdom and experiences we didn't have in our 20s and 30s, right? We are not starting from zero. We are starting again from experience, not zero. With that, you begin to make decisions that better align with who you have become and where you want to go next. Clarity also allows us to get out of our heads of overthinking and overplanning. My gosh, think about that. A breath. Get out of our heads of overthinking and overplanning. Clarity allows us to reduce anxiety, confusion, and stress that keeps us up at night. Again, breathe. Why? Why is clarity so important? Because it works better than reading another self-help book and trying to make it apply to your life, because it's actually you figuring out or becoming illuminated, awakened to where you want to be. So it's better than sort of the generic self-help book you find on a shelf, right? When you start with clarity, because you've got to really start there so you know yourself and where it is you want to go. And it's better than attending another conference led by experts who don't look like us, because they don't get the significance of being a Black woman or why it should matter. And whatever they're offering, they don't quite get the significance of why it matters to be a Black woman. So secondly, the second step in my method for Black women's wellness is confidence. And confidence, when you're feeling confident, you realize that you really do have the ability to redesign your life. Because sometimes we don't feel like we're powerful enough to do it, right? So when you're feeling confident and sort of, feeling your own empowerment, you realize, oh yeah, I can do this. So that's why it's important. Confidence reminds us that we can say no. And by saying no, we begin to release overwhelm and burdensome work. We're feeling good about where we are in life because we take on, and the confidence gives us or reminds us, as I was saying, that we can say no. We're enough already. We don't have to, hustle for our worth. We don't have to stay on that, wheel. We can say, no, I'm not going to do this job. I'm not going to do this task. I'm not going to take on this additional thing confidently. And then we feel good about where you are in life. And so it's like this, this cycle of putting out confidence and then having it come back to us in a positive way. And so then we feel good about who we are, and then we get more confidence. And, so it's a good cycle to be in when you realize, oh, I'm really in control of my life here. I can really start constructing it in the way I really want to live. And confidence reminds us that it's not too late and we're not too old to put ourselves first. Let me say that again. It's not too late and we are not too old to start putting ourselves first. And the third step in my method for Black women's wellness is courage. Courage encourages us to implement those that truly life-changing, life-enhancing changes, right? Because when we really are doing big things, different things, the what if monster shows up. I call it the what if monster. And it's the thing that shows up, and it could be, sometimes I describe it as a dragon or a puppy. It's like this set of fears that's going to come up. Fear and doubt are going to come up. But you have to have some way of kind of getting around that. And it's really courage that is needed, right? So that we can affirm some strategies to help us face the fear and doubt and to keep moving, right? So that gets us to my next point here. Confident action allows us to maintain momentum and creatively solve problems, and therefore think outside the box, which of course is encouraged by supportive, like-minded women. So confident action allows us to maintain momentum and creative problem solving when the fear and doubt come up, which they, are going to when you're pushing, through your comfort zone. That's just what's going to happen. But it's normal. But as long as you've got a sort of system in place that allows you to keep confidently moving, you'll be good. So let me just say briefly about my big why. I'm committed. As I said a little bit earlier, I'm committed to helping Black women to know, to feel acknowledged and appreciated, especially for us, because we often don't. We are just in a, constant hustle and in a performance space of doing all the things all the time, and we don't necessarily get acknowledged or appreciated. So my big why is to help Black women to feel acknowledged and appreciated, and to experience that a sacred space that centers our own emotional well-being. I want to create a space where Black women feel like, yeah, this is where I can be and feel safe. It's also sacred because it's just us and we get us, right? It's like a space where we don't have to pretend. We don't have to, put on any airs. We don't have to hold our tongue. And, spirituality is also embedded in the way I help women. And so it's a sacred space because, you can't just, be vulnerable to everybody, right? We have to be careful about, how we show up and to whom. So what other program, I'm asking, what other program sees you, centers you as a Black woman in the field of wellness or personal development? There's just not that many other programs that are really focused on what we need. So also my biggest why, the strong Black woman has earned her rest. And I say that, with all due respect to my own ancestors, my mother who's passed on, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my great great grandmother, um, Black women who have earned their rest. They worked very hard and made a way for me. And I feel like that gave me a certain platform to stand upon. And, I'm hoping that you could feel that way too about the women who came before you in your life. They have given you your own sort of space, more creativity, more freedom than they had, so that you could even be thinking about how to live into the next stage of your life, right? So, my biggest why, it reminds us that you don't have to be the strong one all the time or to your own detriment. You are already valuable. So again, the 3C method for supporting Black women's wellness is clarity, confidence, courage, and I would kind of throw in there two more: capacity for joy and rest, and commitment to yourself, right? All of these things work together. When put together, they help you in living with chronic exhaustion and burnout and allow you more rest, leisure, and peace of mind in under 9 months. It took us a lifetime to develop these habits, and now we can make significant progress within 9 months. Focus on your own well-being. And I say 9 months because that's the container in which I work with my clients. It's a 9-month period of time where we're focused on our own well-being. When you think about the significance of 9 months being, that's the time to gestate a human. So here we are at another coming of age moment. I like to think of it as another sort of rebirth. And so the container that we are working in is 9 months where we focus on our own well-being. So I'd like to share with you a note about another client. Again, I've changed her name, but we'll call her Cynthia. And Cynthia was somebody who was confused and at a crossroads after several painful losses in her life. And so she was confused because it's kind of like, well, what does this mean when things seem to fall apart? Multiple things fall apart at the same time. Your self-esteem can take quite a hit when that kind of thing happens, and we're just confused, right? So I helped her process her real grief and upset at the situation of losing multiple things in a short period, and also understand that she was now standing at a reset, not a permanent defeat or loss. So in her case, she was going through a divorce, and she was also in the empty nest syndrome. So her kids were older and out of the house, and the divorce was happening. And so some financial challenges were happening. And she was really thinking that she wanted to do something different with her career. Like she was like, I've just been in this sort of rut and now things are shifting. And she was kind of, happy to shift, but these were things that she didn't really see coming. And so for that reason, she was confused and just feeling stuck and wondering what to do. And so I told her, like I'll share with you, the universe often removes people, places, and things to get our attention, to help us heal old wounds, break old patterns, and move forward. Like something's got to give. Painful as it may be in the moment, something has got to give. And oftentimes when we're hesitant, we're just not taking the steps forward, even though we keep praying for change. We keep praying for something to change, but then the opportunity opens and we don't, out of fear. The universe comes in and says, I'm just going to, in her case, remove this marriage and see what you do now. So ultimately, she was able to see opportunity and feel more confident in her ability to take action. She also began to appreciate herself more fully, which means she's naturally going to be able to make better choices for herself with healthier boundaries, especially in relationships, Oftentimes, we need someone objective to point out those old patterns and point the way to new actions. And that's the benefit of having mentorship um, in our lives. Now, I know you do not want to keep working hard. That's what this whole presentation has been about, and in our lives where we are right now. You do not want to keep working hard and not getting any closer to living your best life. That's just like that hamster wheel of doing the thing, but it's not getting you anywhere. So that's exactly what we want to stop doing. We are already exhausted from doing all the things and feeling unappreciated. We're looking for an easier way now. People tell me all the time, I'm too busy managing all the moving parts of my life to even think about my own self-care. I know I should, but I just run out of time, energy, mental bandwidth. Each day is like the one before, and on it goes. And so this is us, right? We're just, again, head in hands, like, what am I going to do? Well, instead, my clients have been using this exact process to stop putting themselves last, stop overperforming, and start living on their own terms. It's the one exclusively curated program that professional Black women like us can use to transition out of hustle and grind, strong Black woman mode into a balanced, easier lifestyle. Together, we will reprioritize, reignite your passion as you begin to redefine and take action toward crafting the next stage of your life. We are going to affirm and implement ways that you can focus on your own wellness, allowing you to put down the burdens you've gotten too used to carrying. What you want for yourself is just on the other side of exhaustion. I can really promise you that. What you want for yourself is just on the other side of exhaustion, and I would add in fear. So I promise you that because I've done it myself, actually multiple times. I've recreated my own life, I like to say, a few times. And I've seen it in clients all the time. Things just start to open up synchronistically when we can finally allow ourselves to move, to put, fear on the shelf. So this is me, and this is an image of me on television, actually. I've been speaking in private and public spaces on this topic because it's my mission. So here I am on TV, on a morning show, speaking on ideas like these about empowering women. Specifically, I was talking about my book, 40 Something. And as I said, I've been privileged to help women at all levels and to receive mentorship from other amazing and dynamic teachers like Iyanla, as I mentioned. It's my purpose and mission to serve Black women in this way. So I was just sharing that with you. Let me ask you this. How many days out of the last 30 have you spent attending to the never-ending needs of others, multitasking and showing up for everybody else in your life except yourself? How many days out of 30? Next question is, how many days out of the last 30 should you have spent at least some time focusing on yourself and enjoying some downtime? Because I know you'd rather have time for some ease and fun in your life. Go to brunch or a night out without checking your phone, without feeling like, oh, I have to wake up early tomorrow, or, the full calendar. You would like to just have some spaciousness when you go out, when you finally do go out, or have some fun that, you can just enjoy it without having to think about what else is getting ready to happen. Maybe you want to do something like take a dance class or spend time journaling again and connecting to your spiritual journey. You might say, I just really want to go to bed early and sleep. And I'm going to agree with you. It's all good. And I'm going to say in the last 30 days, you probably spent 25 of them being a solution to other people's problems. But you should be living every day focused on how you can feel good about where you are in life. Living your best life in the second half, or at least get busy getting to it, right? Like if you're busy, get busy thinking about yourself. Now, I know you probably haven't because You didn't quite know what to do. You didn't have the right process to follow where it seemed possible for you, or you didn't feel that you actually have the time and mental space to figure out what living your best life in the second half even looks like. We need time and space to sort that out. We really do. Again, that's part of the reason why I have a 9-month container for this program. We need time and space to sort it out. And that usually feels like a luxury. But I want to help you make it more routine. And here's another question for you. How much money have you spent trying to get some peace and joy that haven't worked? Like, retail therapy, girls' trips, or, just how much time have you spent just trying to figure it out on your own? What's it been costing you? So, like what? A few hundred here, a few thousand there. I know for myself, I've spent multiple thousands and literally years of my life trying different things. I've spent a lot. I've invested a lot. So I can imagine that you have to in various ways. And we live and we learn. So I'm not even mad that I invested the way I did, because truly it is an investment in myself. And I've been able to figure out some things. I've been able to create this process, right? I've been able to speak to women exactly where they are, to really hear what they're saying. And I am committed to helping you with the fruits of my investment. We live and we learn and we share. And that's where I am now in terms of my commitment. How much frustration is it costing you not to have that peace of mind, more ease in your schedule, more work-life balance? And what's it costing you not to, have that intimate connection with your partner anymore? It's gone by the wayside because you're tired. Not to really be able to enjoy your family because you got to think about work at the end of the day. You should be unwinding. What's it costing you? So here's my 3C process. As I mentioned, clarity, confidence, courage, plus the other two. And it's designed to bring you that joy, spaciousness, and rest that you've been craving. It is helping women like us reprioritize a life of wellness and affirming spirituality, to discern and implement the life you really want to live in the next phase of your life, and create daily routines that allow you to release the overwhelm and burnout that you've been carrying for too long, I want to say. And can I say that craving and desire are not going to go away, that we have, because, well, many of us feel like we're at our wits' end already, but it's not going to go away, because it's like the calling on your life, like the blessing on your life, the thing that you have to share with others. It's not going to go away. And we don't want another birthday or New Year's to come and we're in the same position with those same feelings of frustration, resentment, overwhelm, and fear that we're running out of time. So it's a good thing in a way that the craving and desire are not going to go away, because it reminds us that we have something more to contribute, even though it might feel like, I've been wanting to do this year after year in a negative way, but actually it's really a positive thing, So like, we just don't want another birthday or New Year to come and go and we're in the same position. So just know that craving and desire are not going to go away on their own. That discomfort is good. It reminds us that it's time to make a change. And so I'm advocating with you, let's do life differently. So here's another question for you. If what you've been trying has still left you frustrated, exhausted, and resentful, still not sleeping well, no time for exercise or meditation or taking your walks, non-existent love life, or one that's sort of dwindling on the vine, nothing that fills your cup, and you're still putting yourself last, then isn't it time to find a new way so you can get to the more balanced lifestyle you're craving? Here's how we can start manifesting this today. I'd like to give you the opportunity to leverage what I've learned through the process of investing so much of my time and money in various solutions of having done many things the wrong way and doing many things the hard way. But what I've learned is how to do things an easier way. I'm inviting you to join me in doing life differently and of personally learning to let go of the hustle, refocus on your own self-care, your own career, if that means recreating your career around new goals, and sharing with you how I've done that for myself. I've helped probably hundreds of women do this over the years. I've been coaching for 15 years at this point. So I'm inviting you into a completely free call with me so that we could take a look at what's going on in your life and what it is that you need to go forward. I'll be guiding you to feeling good about your life again at midlife using my 3C process. We will personally put together a complete blueprint for you so you can finally take off that superwoman cape, right, to exhale and find some ease and joy again. And how you can use this customized blueprint to inspire yourself right into your best life, into your next season. You're going to leave this call with the exact steps my clients and I have used to reprioritize and get back to Black women wellness. Listen, I know you've put your own needs off long enough, and you probably keep getting stuck in the grind and hustle year after year. Other people's needs always seem to win out. Well, that's until now. You just need a plan, which doesn't feel like work, and some supportive mentorship and a community of like-minded women. That's what I can offer you. An easier way to pull all this together, and I'm going to help you do it in a personalized way. The best thing that will happen is you love the customized plan we create for you, and you want to become a client of mine and ease into your next season. I keep stressing that because I know that most of us as high achieving Black women, we're used to doing things hard and we're used to having to push through. But I want to share with you above all else that there can be an easier way. And that's part of what I'm offering you today. So taking this call is the single most important thing you can do right now to finally focus on your own well-being. Not many other programs and coaches are designed by us and for us. There's a gap, right? And I'm here to fill it for us. That's why it's so important for women like us. There's really no other space where you can receive this type of high-level community of Black women supporting each other toward our own individual versions of our best lives, with momentum and loving accountability so that you actually get out of your rat race, off that hamster wheel, and into where you really want to be. So I'm inviting you here to speak with me personally. Talk to drdarnice.com is where you can find me, or you can click the button here to book a call. Very easy. You can just click the button right here. And I want to thank you for spending your time with me today, and I look forward to talking to you. So go ahead and click that button to speak with me, and I'll talk to you soon. This has been Dr. Darnice Martin, and I want to thank you for joining me. I look forward to talking to you on the other side. Bye for now.